about the author. As you probably know by now, my name is Ben Harris, and this is about the extent of what you're going to see of me. Now, my history starts with a love of music since I can't even remember how far back. I always loved music. I was always dancing to music as a little kid and always singing along with the songs, always wanted to play instruments, always wanted to be a rock star and a musician, and things progressed from there. I started taking piano lessons, mainly because my parents made me, and after a while, I decided to give that up so that I could take guitar lessons, continued to work on the piano, but then at that time worked on learning how to play the guitar and the bass, and I really wanted to be, the rock star sort of thing, so the guitar made a lot more sense for that kind of thing. Next, I went into high school and started playing in bands, sang in choir, played in the jazz band, played bass, lots of those things, got some more musical experience, went into college, decided to major in music, started to work on songwriting, and I got into recording that way, and realized after a while that I was much more skilled in recording and producing than actually being a performer. And so that's why I turned in that direction. And then I came to Colorado to get my master's degree and did that at the University of Colorado at Denver. Got a master's in recording. And from there, I'm actually teaching at that school now, along with other things, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Now, my experience started musically as a salesman. I sold guitars and things like that, and that led to learning about PA equipment and recording equipment. I recorded, with an engineer and such, and that led to a job as a studio technician at the university I was at. And I continued to learn about recording and different programs, and I ended up getting some of my own equipment, recorded bands, and started building up my own gear. As I would record somebody, I'd use that money to buy more equipment and basically feed the habit. And I've continued to do that to today. But, in the process, I've had to spend the money on other things like rent and house payments and clothes and food and stuff like that. But I still try to feed that habit of getting more and more equipment. Throughout this all, I've always had a network of friends to learn the programs and the basic techniques. A lot of the techniques which we talked about in this tutorial are things that I've learned over the years with that network of friends and, studying on my own, as well as the schooling that I've had. And then I also worked in different studios, got experience that way, and learned from engineers that I have great respect for, learned a lot of these skills and techniques. And I worked on different music and post-production projects in that process and to get my skill level up and continue to get better and better. Now, what I do now, a lot of what I do now is teach. I teach at the University of Colorado at Denver. I teach Pro Tools certification classes. I teach basic recording classes over weekends. I run a Logic users group. I teach Logic courses. I do a lot of teaching, but I also spend a lot of my time doing tech support. I work for a high-end boutique audio dealer, and we set up professional studios with new systems and new equipment, and I do the tech support, and I'm on the phone with these professionals in their studios that have been doing this for 30, 40 years and assisting them in setting up new equipment, new programs in their computers and such, and really setting it up so that it functions with their kind of workflow, and so that the computer and digital audio workstations help them out in sometimes their tape-based world. I also do some freelance work, recording, of course, continuing with producing bands and artists, and I'm just finishing doing a choir right now, and, I try to continue doing the work that I'm teaching people about, because I feel that if I didn't continue doing that kind of work, then I really wouldn't have the experience in keeping up my chops with the game to go and tell people how to do it. And so I make it a point to continue to be a recording engineer and actually practice what I preach and what I teach. And that's basically who I am. That's me. I'm Ben Harris. And I'm glad I could provide this tutorial for you, and I hope that you learned some great stuff.